Hello, everyone, and welcome to the studios here at Culpepper Media Network. My name is Jonathan Krawchuk, and it is my pleasure to welcome into the studios and into your home the Culpeper Humane Society. Joining me today, as always, is Patty Werick, who is the president of the Culpeper Humane Society. Patty, first off, thank you so much for coming in.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a real privilege and a great opportunity to tell people about our rescue.
You know, in the past episodes that we've done, I have grown extremely fond, not only of you sitting in the chair next to me, but also of learning more about your wonderful organization. We've learned a lot over the past few episodes. We're going to learn, obviously, more today. One of the things I wanted to ask first is, I mean, it's been a little bit since we've seen you. Mm-hmm. What's been going on with the Humane Society? Give us some, what are some big things that have been happening lately?
Well, we've been very busy because our end of the year encompasses a lot of revenue gathering because of the holidays. And then there's the holidays where volunteers are, celebrating their Christmas. And but it's also an end of the year for our reports and grant submissions, and so our holiday period at the end of the year is very busy.
Well, one of the things I want to ask about, so grant submissions, mm-hmm. how have those been working out for you?
Well, you know, I think that our whole story is it's the good, bad, and ugly. We have a lot of good things. We hit a $10,000 grant from a wonderful organization, and we had some other smaller grants hit, so that was good. The bad part was that we had received a $50,000 grant from an anonymous foundation, and that lasted 2 years, but it was specifically for TNR. Okay. So that ran out, made us sad.
You said we got $50,000, and you prefaced that with bad news. I was like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, it's gone. But we used it for 2 years mm-hmm. To do TNR. And so everything that we've done has been good. We did, I would say, almost 1,000 TNR spay and neuters.
Yeah, well, when we were sitting in the chair previous episodes, we talked at length of TNR, and I would invite folks who have not heard of TNR to pull up the episode either on demand or catch it on our website because it's one of the, I would say, pillars that the Humane Society operates under.
Yes, absolutely, because it reduces the amount of unwanted population of cats mm-hmm. and from going into the shelter because when kittens go in, they can get socialized and adopted, but adult cats, there's nothing, they're feral, they're wild. So it's a very sad thing. And they keep on breeding, they're like rabbits. Yeah, so it's very difficult.
One of the things that will always stick with me is the fact when we were talking about I think I asked the specific question, why is it so important to spay or neuter? And you talked about basically the pyramid of propagation.
Yes, it's frightening.
It really is. It really is. Now, Patty, we have congratulations on those grants.
Yeah,
I know that's a great step forward.
Mm-hmm. Because of COVID, that has changed everything for us. Mm-hmm. There's a shortage of veterinarians and a shortage of vet techs, and the issue with that is we rely on low-cost spay and neuter clinics. Mm-hmm. So if they're not open to us, we have to travel further to the hinterlands to get that done, and that's a lot of wear and tear on the van. Our van doesn't hold that many pets to take, mm-hmm. So that has been a problem. The top of this year, we've got an inkling of some things being changed around and opening back up to us, and they're much less expensive than what we've been doing, so that's a good thing for us.
Well, I would like to say, all in all, you have some great news for the start of the new year.
We're a hard-working small group, and we keep concentrating on our primary objectives, and that is reducing the amount of unwanted population from going into the shelter and increasing those coming out.
Indeed, as a mission statement we've said many times before, everything that you work towards is for those two purposes, reducing intake and, again, increasing outtake. And I think every single time you've sat in that chair, you've made it abundantly obvious. And today,
Yes.
we're going to talk about another program.
Yes, another pillar.
Another pillar. You like that? I thought it
I
worked.
I do, because it supports our whole strategy.
You see how it all comes together?
It comes together, yeah.
And that is the Pet Pantry Program.
Yes.
There is a lot to this program, as well as many of the other programs with the Culpeper Humane Society that you've been working on for years to get where you're at now. So do me a favor, kind of give me the overhead view of what the Pet Pantry Program is.
The Pet Pantry Program is so important to our strategy of keeping pets out of the shelter, so that people on low fixed income, like seniors, veterans, disabled people, and especially during COVID, when people may have lost their jobs or because of schooling have had to quit because of their children, they're even in a bigger need now for help. So when we started we've expanded on the existing pet pantry when I took over, and I think there were only like 7 families being served. And we started by joint venturing with the USDA and empowering Culpepper and doing major contribution once a month at the Methodist Church in the South Towns in the parking lot. Before COVID, we could meet inside. The world now is we meet outside with our van with all of it and hand out food. We used to register people. Now there's no laptops and no taking time to do that. You know, we hand out food to people that show up, but they're all supported by USDA and Empowering Culpepper, so they've already been screened.
Well, yeah, and again, I was going to ask you another question, but you bring up you continue on a good point. We had talked about the partnerships in past programs. This seems to be another example of those partnerships that's really helping the Humane Society achieve their goals.
Yes, this joint venturing with large national or local groups even really ensures our success. They're not going to let us fail because they see how many people that they feed and how they then swarm over to us to get their pet food and how important that is to them.
Now, just a moment ago, you said you started off, I think it was, with 7 families doing this Pet Pantry program.
Yes.
I'm going to go out on a very weak limb and say you may have more.
Yes, you would. You are so intuitive like that. Yes, and Jenn is actually, as the director of our pet pantry, she will be actually better at pinpointing the amount. But the last time I checked, it was 230 people.
Goodness
230 families, I should say.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds like it's a very large program.
Yes.
Do you break it down somehow, or how?
Oh yes, yes.
Large program handled?
It's a large program, and Jenn can speak specifically to the processes. But basically, there's the once a month at the Methodist Church parking lot where we give out the bulk of our pet food, and we have a volunteer that goes to the senior center once a month, actually twice a month, because seniors, if they're taking the bus or something, can't take lots of bags. They take a little bag. But since COVID, what we've been doing is home deliveries because the senior center has been closed. So sometimes if they have a relative or friend, they can drive to the senior center and pick up their food. But there's many people that we have a person suffering from cancer, we have disabled people and seniors that can't get out and don't have transport, and we deliver right to their house. So Then the third part is we support people that have feral cat colonies. If they need help with food, we once a month will drop off kibble and wet canned food for them. And also our program of chained canines. We will drop off food to them too once a month, and that a separate volunteer takes care of them. So Jenn has the unenviable position of working around all the poundage for both the cats and the dogs to make sure we're covered.
All right, so I definitely have more than a few questions to ask Jenn about, but before we speak with Jenn, a couple of the things of note. You mentioned you have volunteers doing this work, and obviously you take donations. One of the things I want to make sure that I am aware of is how I can help. If I wanted to, I'm assuming you would take donations.
Yes.
And I'm assuming you would like maybe some volunteers.
Yes. Again, brilliant deduction.
I'm telling you, it takes work to do this. It takes hard work.
Yeah.
So how would I go about contacting the Culpepper Humane Society in order to either donate my time or donate materials?
We have a website, culpepperhumane.org, and for volunteers we have a volunteer application, and of course money is always a beautiful thing. It's the right color, the right size, so money is always welcomed, because what we don't get in physical food donations, we will purchase. And of course with COVID now, donations have decreased, but we have more avenues to acquire the resources that we need. So Chewy.com has a list of all the kitten food, dog food, meds that we use, so you can just go on Chewy.com and press a couple of keys and pay through PayPal, and it's delivered directly to us. The exact food we need for our fosters. Since we're doing so much TNR, that's where all our pets are coming from. Our kittens come from these feral cat colonies, and many are in poor health because of dreadful natal care and conditions that they've lived in. So we can socialize them and get them healthy and get those adopted out. That has increased. So our veterinarian bills have increased too, as well as our food bills, because kittens eat and poop all the time. So, and several times a day. So we always need money for that, and specific food so that it doesn't upset their stomach having different changes.
It's amazing to me, everything that you have to think of and work through. It's amazing that you, your board, your volunteers can just get it done, and have for so long.
Yes, it is amazing, and I rely heavily on our directors like Jenn for the Pet Pantry, and the different managers that have their special niche for deliveries to shop the pantry, deliver it on time to people, and control our inventory too of how much more we need every month and how much goes out, so we can analyze it.
All right. Well, again, Patty, I want to thank you for coming in. I want to speak with Jenn to get into the kibbles and bits of the Pet Pantry. But
excellent.
You like that?
Yeah, I know, that was cool.
I wrote that one last night.
Kibble and bits, yes.
But again, I want to thank you for your time, your effort. Obviously, your time coming in today, but every single day, the work that you and the board do, and your volunteers with the Culpepper Humane Society. Obviously, the impact you have on the community with the staff that you have is considerable.
Yes.
Culpepper Humane Society is greater than the sum of its parts by far, and you guys do a great job.
Thank you so much. I think that too. The thing is every time we help a pet, a cat or a dog, we're helping a community member that's in need. So it's a privilege and honor to do this kind of work, and Jenn can tell you, because she deals directly with the distribution, is what a good feeling that is to give.
Well, I'm going to learn more about it here in just a second.
Okay.
Patty, again, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, folks, a lot more to come with the Culpepper Humane Society, so stay tuned. We're going to learn more about how the Culpepper Humane Society serves our community and its smallest members. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. To learn more about the Pet Pantry Program, one of the pillars of the Culpepper Humane Society, we have the director of the Pet Pantry Program. I'm so glad I got that out in one take. Please welcome Jenn Sisson. Jenn, first off, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be able to talk about something I'm so passionate about and have someone eager to listen to me.
I am ready to listen because I definitely am very curious. But before we get to the Pet Pantry Program, one of the things that I think Patty and I have spoken about in previous episodes, and you just referenced there, was your passion.
Yes.
And I think that is abundantly evident in everybody that volunteers or works with the Culpepper Humane Society. I'm curious, how did you find your passion? How did you get involved with the Culpepper Humane Society?
So my first contact initially was actually, we adopted our dog Polly from them in November of 2017. So we adopted Polly, and Patty kept checking in with me and my husband, seeing how Polly was doing, because Polly actually has a condition called ataxia. It's kind of similar to what fainting goats have, where they'll just kind of freeze up and their muscles will stiffen up and fall over, so she has trouble walking and stuff sometimes. But she's the sweetest girl.
What kind of dog is Polly?
She is a Staffordshire Terrier.
Oh, okay.
Yes, she is the sweetest thing. So after we'd had Polly for about 6 months, Patty asked if my husband and I would be interested in fostering dogs for the Humane Society as well. So we became a foster family. And then about 2 months after that, I started volunteering to help out with the rebagging process for the Pet Pantry and help out with the distribution at Empowering Culpepper. And I talked with my now co-board member, Debbie, and she was very good at mentoring me because she wanted me to have more control over the program. So that's how I started.
So it all started with Polly, really?
Yes, it did.
All right, so the Pet Pantry Program, as Patty alluded to earlier, we talked about being one of the pillars for decreasing intake. The Pet Pantry Program, I mean, it sounds self-explanatory, but I know there's so much more to it. Again, kind of go a little bit more details about how does it work? I mean, we talked about, obviously, you're providing food for those who are unable to provide food for their pets, but I know there's a lot more to it.
Yes. So like Patty was touching on, we have several different distributions that we do out of the one program. So we have our largest monthly distribution at Empowering Culpepper, alongside the volunteers for the USDA food bank that are giving food out there. We also have our feral cat colonies that we help support, and then we also have our seniors that we help support, and the Unchained Canines program. So it takes a lot of different volunteers, and getting them in is basically the first starting point, is getting volunteers for it.
Well, with the distribution points and the amount of individuals you serve, actually, now I bring that up, they start off with 7 families. I think Patty said 200 and something now.
Yes, about 230. Her estimate on that is correct. We grew a lot with COVID hitting us. The need in the community grew greater.
So with the allocation of these foods, how do you where does it all come from?
It comes from a large part of community donations, be they actual food or monetary donations. We reach out on Facebook quite often, and we were very fortunate in August of 2020. The Culpepper Farm Center actually reached out to us and said they had about 12 pallets of dog food that they wanted to donate to us.
Goodness gracious.
So that was about 12 to 13,000 pounds of dog food in and of itself. And then we also go out to stores like Weis and Walmart we partner with, and we send some volunteers out to set up there on a Saturday and just kind of explain what we're doing and take donations, and just tell them about the pets that we have for adoption as well.
So I feel like when you said the pallets of dog food, it's my dog is sleeping, I'm pretty sure that's what she's dreaming about, the 12 pallets of food coming off the truck. So as you get these, I'm assuming you do traditional food drives as well.
Yes.
For the pets. When all this food comes in and these donations comes in, how does it go from, for lack of a better term, in your warehouse to the distribution centers? How does that work?
So we have several places that it kind of comes in from. When we gather it at the stores, like when we have stuff donated from Weis or from Walmart, I'll just take that directly back to Patty's house. The dog food could not all fit in our tiny pet pantry at Patty's house. So that luckily we had a family of volunteers that had space on their farm in one of their garages that we were able to store that in. So when I bring that food over, I go over there and pick up about 500 to 800 pounds at a time, and then I'll bring that back in and get that rebagged as quickly as we can so it's not taking up excess space in the pet pantry. I do we get a lot of gift card donations from Weis as well, so I can shop for some of our pet food needs there. Trying to think what else. Oh, and we also have one volunteer who helps run our Facebook page, and she will collect a lot of donations at her house, and she'll keep them there until I have room freed up at Patty's to bring them over.
It really does take a village, apparently.
Yes.
Goodness gracious. So when you take these foods in and you rebag them, I think was the term you used?
Yes.
Do you have like a checklist, and you're like, well, Sasha needs X amount of this, Polly needs X amount of this? Is that how that works?
As much as I can make it work off of a checklist, because it always kind of ebbs and flows every month. Some people have more needs one month than another, but we generally have set guidelines of for our feral cat colonies, we know how many bags they'll need each month. So we make sure that we get those bags secured either from donations or from monetary donations so that we can buy it off of Chewy.
I'm getting lost because it amazes me how much work it takes just for this singular program, one of many with the Culpeper Humane Society, and it takes volunteers like you to keep it all together, and it's pretty amazing. Like when you do the rebagging and you have these, because we talked about I think 2 or 3 individuals that are housing food at their homes. Mm-hmm. How many volunteers total do you think it takes to work the Pet Pantry Program?
Oh, all in all, we have at least 20 to 25 volunteers, I think, that help with all of the moving parts.
Oh my goodness! But you could always use more, right?
Of course.
And again, if I wanted to, I could reach out to culpepperhumane.org. I could send an email to info@culpepperhumanesociety.com. And you mentioned on Facebook. What kind of things do you do? We mentioned the food drives on Facebook and putting the calls out. Mm-hmm. That's continuous, correct?
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of, I communicate with Teresa, who's the coordinator for our Facebook page, and getting those types of donations in. And when I say we're running out of a particular kind of food, if we're running low on canned cat food, then she'll put out a call specifically for canned cat food.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, we've talked a lot about the Pet Pantry Program. Is there anything maybe that I haven't asked yet? Because really, it's incredible the scope of the work that you all do here.
It really is. I mean, it just, every month when we go out for the distribution, you really get to actually see the impact that you're making. And I'm sure my other volunteers that distribute to the seniors and the Unchained Canines program feel the same way. When we had our Christmas drive this past month, we actually had one of the people that we give food to, she actually baked us a cake and brought it to us to say thank you for everything that we'd done for her throughout the year.
That's incredible. And you know, with the over 230 families that you serve, I would think that every single one of them wants to do something like that, wants to say, I'm sure they do say thank you.
Yes.
But the amount of emotion that they have, because it's never easy to admit that you need help in any fashion.
No.
So when these folks come in, you see it on their face and you see the joy in their eyes when they're able to provide for what is a member of their family.
Yes. And they often introduce us as much as they can to those members of their family. We have one person who gets food from us. I know everything about his cat, Mr. Whiskers, everything there is to know. There's one lady who comes in. I know she has 2 80-pound labs that she has to feed every month. And a lot of people, now that we're doing it outside, sometimes they'll even bring their pets in their car with them so we can actually meet the pets that we're feeding.
Now, I would say if you're going to, I guess, if you want people to volunteer, those are the type of stories you want them to know. That connection, that emotion, that's what I'm assuming drives you forward, and again drives the Culpepper Humane Society forward as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Whiskers, that's a good name. I like that one. Now, again, right now, if I was to log on, what would you say your most immediate need is?
Most immediate need is probably people helping us rebag the food every month, because that is the least glamorous part of what we do. It's all the behind the scenes work, because we can't take 50-pound bags and give them out to people. We have to break that down into smaller 10-pound bag increments that we can actually hand out to more than like 5 families.
Well, how often do you do this?
We do this, we try and aim for twice a month for rebagging. I do a session on the weekends because I work full-time during the week. So I get like the high school kids usually will help me out on the weekends. And then there's a lot of retired people that are helping us, or people that don't work during the week. And they usually help my other volunteer, Janice, and she usually does a weekday rebagging for me.
All right, so here we are in mid-January filming this episode. When's your next rebagging coming out?
The next ones that we do, the distribution for Empowering Culpepper, which is the biggest one, is always the 3rd Saturday of every month. So usually the following Saturday, after I have space in the pet pantry again, because we've given out that large amount of food, is when I try to schedule my first weekend rebagging session.
Okay. So again, if folks are interested in helping out doing this rebagging, they can visit the website, they can send an email, and again, you're always welcoming new help.
Absolutely.
All right. Again, Jen, thank you so much for everything you do, and thank you for taking the time today to come in.
Thank you for having me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've learned quite a bit about the Culpepper Humane Society, but there's always more to learn. So hop on to Culpepper Humane, culpepperhumane.org. You can send an email to info@culpepperhumanesociety.com. And you can also find them on Facebook by searching Culpepper Humane Society. This is an amazing opportunity to contribute to our community and the smallest members of it. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have the time, if you have the money, I invite you to come help out our community through the Culpepper Humane Society. Well, folks, until we see you at maybe the next rebagging event, you have yourselves a great day and, of course, a better tomorrow.